Hey, this is Dave with Classic Gamers HQ. I want to thank you for joining me today. I'm covering the Sega CD, which is the add-on component. In 1992 it was released for the Sega Genesis. It was an actual attachment, had a power source of its own, and if you are an owner of the Sega Genesis and the Sega CD and the Sega 32X add-on, you knew how power hungry this entire system was. 3 components, 3 power supplies, not enough outlets in the wall, that's for sure. But nonetheless, when you had them all plugged in, everything was situated, and you plugged in your cartridge, you had a blast. Well, I'm covering the Sega CD intro. Yes, very simple. It's going to be a little overview of Sega, its history of components, and I will later be doing in-depth reviews on each of these components and their add-ons. And just wanted to point out that the Sega CD intro, when I first got my Sega CD and installed it, booted it up for the first time, I was amazed, and that intro amazed me. To this day, I remember the intro music being outstanding, and I remember the intro itself being just fun to watch. If you didn't have a CD installed, hell, you could be entertained by the intro itself. I mean, just look at it go. It's a song and dance, it's entertaining, and it's a good way just to zone out. But if that's not enough for you, the Sega CD is capable of playing your audio CDs, playing video games of course, not only regular video games, but enhanced full motion video games. Add-on CD video game systems of this time during the early to mid 90s, when a rash of these systems had been released, full motion video was the future of gaming. Supposed to be the future of gaming. It didn't last very long, but for the time that it did last, there were a good handful of titles that came out that were very fun to play, and to this day are still great titles. Now, not a very powerful unit by today's standards, but it did boast a CPU at a whopping 12.5 megahertz. Now that's blazing fast speed. Because of the Genesis, it did piggyback or rely on the Genesis and its graphics capabilities. The full motion video wasn't as clear and as proficient as they could have been. The limitations of the Genesis, its color palette, and its processing power did limit the full motion video capabilities of the Sega CD. Graphics capabilities, well, number of simultaneous colors on screen, 64 out of 512. That's why you get that grainy effect during those full motion videos that play. Display resolution, not the highest quality, but it's sat at 320 by 224 pixels on screen. Two versions of its unit, 2 popular versions. It's the version 1 Sega CD that was a front-loading unit. Your first generation Genesis stacked on top of it. The second generation Sega CD was an entire console, and the CD portion of it sat to the right, while you hooked your Genesis Generation 1 with an extender, or Generation 2 without an extender, to the left, which made it one solid, very sleek looking unit. The final version of the Sega CD was the Genesis and the Sega CD combined all into one tiny compact unit. The Sega Mega CD, which was released in 1994. It combined the best of both worlds. Genesis, Sega CD, all in one compact unit. Unfortunately, this particular model wasn't very popular. This was around the time that full motion video gaming was starting to tank, and Sega's sales were starting to go along with them.
During that time, Sega was struggling a bit to keep in the running with other competitors, such as the up-and-coming Sony's PlayStation and their new introduction to the PlayStation 2. Sega made another attempt with the Dreamcast, and that fell on its face. But Nintendo and PlayStation to this day are still great competitors and have stayed in the game for a very long time, for many years. I do appreciate you watching this video, and I hope you attend several more of my videos. I'll have several Sega CD titles to review, among other classic game reviews of many other systems that I'm currently collecting. So please subscribe and watch more videos, and keep gaming and keep it classic. We'll see you next time.